Hey everybody, Marcus Crawford here with the Idaho Quadcopter channel. Hey, today is the perfect day to try out the new firmware with the Autel Evo Nano Plus. Now, Autel just released yesterday some new firmware with for this thing, a new version of the app for both iOS and Android, and then new firmware for the drone as well. And three main things that the app and the firmware have addressed, and that is the jello in the video, which, as you know, I've already got the updated version of the dampers or isolators on mine. So, and it seemed to cure the jello problem that I'd seen with my previous Nano Plus. So, we may or may not show much with that. But, however, they're saying that even if you had the old style of isolators or dampers, whichever you want to call them, that this new firmware will cure that jello issue. So that's good news, right? If you don't have to send your drone back in to get it repaired, that's not a bad thing. So this test today, because mine has already been modified, probably won't tell us much there. However, what I have seen is I've still had a tilted horizon on this from time to time. This new firmware package is supposed to address that as well. And then it also, a lot of people have talked about how Autel rolled back the speed from 15 meters to 13 meters per second, 15 meters per second to 13 meters per second. And they address that with, they're calling their sport mode, they're calling it ludicrous mode now. And then there's a switch in the app that you can tell it whether you want video priority. In other words, the top speed will then be 13 meters per second and should not affect the gimbal operation. Or you can kick it up to 15 meters per second and that can affect the gimbal. And I believe what they mean by that is the drone could pitch far enough forward that it could cause the gimbal to kick down. I believe that that's what they mean. But our weather today here, oh, and by the way, those firmware numbers for iOS, or the app, the newest app version is 1.1.1 for iOS, and then the new firmware version is 1.1.14. Better get that out there. But the weather today, we've got a lot of wind. It's a perfect day to test this. 15 mile an hour sustained winds, and I measured that at 40 meters, and that's how high we're going to fly this. And with up to 25 mile an hour gusts. That's just within the level 5 wind resistance that this drone is said to have. And this is a good spot to test it out here at Heroes Park because I've got a big open park out here. We got the flag there. You can see the flag blowing in the wind right now. The wind has kind of calmed down a little bit. That flag was straight out just a couple of minutes ago. But it's a big open area, so, we can move around out there. And even if we had problems getting the drone to come back, hey, the worst thing that would happen is you land it out in the field and go out there and get it. Now, I don't think that's going to be an issue, but it's worth thinking about. In other words, for instance, I think I would be a little reticent to test this out over the Snake River Canyon. So, what if you couldn't get it powerful enough to get it back to you? So we're going to try it here first and see how it does, and then we'll make another trip out there to the Snake River Canyon. Hey, okay, enough jibber jabber. You guys want to see this thing fly. Let's get this bird in the air. Hey, okay, I've got the drone fired up and the controller and the app, of course, and I did a compass calibration as well as a gimbal calibration. We want to get everything correct after doing that firmware update. So I'm going to switch to video mode here. And with this drone, I never start video till after I take off because it does that anyway. It will actually, if you start video in 4K, it will actually shut itself. It'll take off and it'll shoot, I believe, in 1080, turn itself off, fire back up in 4K. So you might as well just wait till you take off to start video. So anyway, let's quit messing around here. Let's do a takeoff on the app. And you know, I can immediately see it dealing with the wind, and the obstacle avoidance is working like it should. So let's take a look at that camera menu, make sure we've got everything set how we want. Yep, 4K 30 frames per second. I'm going to go ahead and enable that take photos while shooting. I'm not sure that we'll use it, but we'll enable it anyway. Let's start recording. And you can see it's perfect. We're, you know, it's showing how far off the ground we are, so the downward sensors are working. I'm behind it, so that's the tail sensor. So let's spin it around here. And we're kind of shooting into the sun, but, you know, it's looking at me, and it's showing me there. So, but boy, look at it move around. It's really moving around in the wind. So I'm going to try and bring it in closer, but I don't think I can because of the sensors. Yeah, I got full stick forward and it's not moving. So that's good. That obstacle avoidance is working perfectly. And we're in standard mode now. So let's go ahead and do our manual droning that we always do. I'm going to point the camera down a little bit and reverse and up. And we're going to shoot between a couple of trees here. And off we go. Keep going higher. You know, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I sure like the flight controls on this drone. We'll pull it straight back here for a while. Yeah, looking good. So I noticed on my screen here, when you enable photos, that it gives you a little kind of a button up there to take a picture. So that's cool. I'd not noticed that before. Now, if I am looking at the horizon, it is very, very, very slightly tilted. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I don't know that that's enough that it would bother me that much, but I can see it with the grid lines, so I wanted to make sure I mention it to you guys as well. So let's just quit messing around. Let's try the speed out here, and as we are around, so this we are in normal mode here, or standard mode, and this is essentially with the wind. So let's go full stick forward. And you know what? Let's raise it up. I want to get it. Hang on, I'm stopping here. I want to get it up to that 40 meters that I set out with the app there, so that we can gave us the wind speed, so that we know that we're accurate. So we're at 40 meters, same as we had with UAV forecast. And you can look at the tilt on there, 10 meters per second, which that's top speed in standard mode. So let's turn around, and you can see how much the drone is tilting. Look at that attitude indicator in the bottom left of the screen recording, and it's that drone is it's definitely working against the wind. So the wind is basically it's kind of coming from the north, basically west, but a little bit northwest. So let's go full stick forward here. Now we're essentially going against the wind. And yeah, that's making a huge difference. I am full stick forward here. And we are at 3.5. Yeah, now we're getting up to 4 meters per second, but it's struggling. 5, 6. Yeah, it's really struggling. So that is interesting. Down, yeah, and it's moving around a lot, so it must be gusts of wind up there. So again, you know, this drone appears to be affected significantly by the wind. So now let's turn around, and we will put it in sport mode, or ludicrous mode, I guess they call it now. They changed the name on us. And I am not sure. So, maybe invalid. Okay, so we're going to confirm that. And then I think what we need to do is we need to look, well, I probably have to stop recording. So I'm going to stop recording now to be able to look in the menu, because I can't remember whether I had it set to the speed mode, how I had that set. So I wonder if that would probably be under control here. Let's take a look. No, that's gimbal. Flight mode, maybe. I wonder. I'm wondering where. Oh yeah, so ludicrous. Here we go. It is under flight mode. So I had it on priority video, and so what that's going to do is going to give us just a 13 meters per second top speed. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in speed mode, and what that means is that it may kick down the gimbal on us, but that's okay. We're prioritizing speed here, so let's get out of there. And okay, so we are, like I said, we're essentially with the wind here. I will say the wind has kind of calmed down here a little bit. I'm looking at the flag. Let's go full stick forward, although you can see the attitude meter down there. The drone is definitely tilting, fighting the wind. So this direction, we should get up to that 15 meters per second, and we are fairly quickly. We didn't quite make it, but yeah, there we did, 15 meters per second. Let's hit the brakes, and we'll turn around and come back the other way, and let's try it. Now we're essentially against the wind. In fact, I'm going to go directly against the wind. If I go to this corner right here, I will be flying directly into the wind. So let's go full stick forward now. And this is in sport or ludicrous mode with the 15 meters per second selected. In other words, not to help with your video. And look, we're not really much faster than we were in standard mode. About 5 meters per second roughly. It was a little over there for a while. So yeah, it definitely, this guy is definitely affected by the wind. So I guess what I'm going to tell you is I would not fly this in higher than level 5 wind, and of course that's what it's rated for. Well, there's 7 right there, so it sped up there at the end. We got up to 7 meters per second. So let's go back and try that again. We're going to head back the other direction, back to the opposite corner of the park here. And let's see what we can do. So full stick forward here, and boy, look at immediately with the wind at its back, it really takes off. And there's 15 meters per second, easy enough. And I just realized that I didn't start video recording again. So let's start video right now. So you guys will have been looking at a screen recording then, because we want that video recording on, because we want to look for jello. So we're going to do that one more time here in this top speed ludicrous mode. And again, now we're going against the wind, because I want to have recording on, because we're looking for, as you recall, we're looking for jello. And I'm looking at the horizon now, and it's perfect. The horizon is good. So yeah, you know, we're a little over 5 meters per second there. So it definitely fighting the wind. Let's turn around. Let's get the wind behind it. And again, the reason I did that again with video on is we definitely want to, we're looking for jello in the video. So let's go ahead and go back this direction with the wind, and it'll immediately take off. And I'll tell you when I hit the brakes, okay, I am off the throttle now. And, you know, again, what we're looking for is that a good stable video. So, okay, so I'm going to stop recording again. We're going to go ahead and we're going to put it into the video mode, where the top speed in ludicrous is 13 meters per second. So I'm going to stop recording, go back into the menu, and let's see. Again, I'm trying to remember control, flight mode. And yeah, so speed priority or video priority. So we're going to put it back in video priority, and that should take us down to 13 meters per second. And I'm going to not forget to start recording here. So there, we're recording. So now we'll be going against the wind here, and it should be a little bit slower, but we'll see. So, and I don't know how exactly Autel is limiting that, whether, I assume they're limiting the amount that they'll let the drone pitch. And look, we're almost faster in this mode. And of course, we don't know, the wind could have changed too. I'm looking at the flag kind of calmed down. So we're at a little over 7 meters per second. And so yeah, that's not bad. We'll flip it around here and let's go against the wind and see how we do. And it should top out at 13 meters per second in this mode. We're at 48% battery, so we're in good shape there. Okay, full stick forward. And yep, 13 meters per second, little above, yeah, but right at 13 meters per second. So exactly as advertised. I mean, it's working just exactly as they said. So that's good. That's a good thing. Let's go ahead and put the drone back into normal mode, and maybe we'll just we'll fly it around here a little bit so we can take a look at the video. So that's smooth. I want normal mode, or standard mode. I'm sorry. All these drones have different ways that they describe their different modes, but yeah. So standard mode against the wind here. Look at that. 3 meters per second. It's just, it's not liking that. And I'm looking at the flag. The flag's blowing pretty good here, so it's pushing against the wind. I'll tell you what, it's too bad that you can't get a little more pitch out of this drone, because it definitely affects the performance. So let's run across the street real quick, because one thing I know about this is I'll be able to, it'll have the wind at its back coming back. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and throw it back into ludicrous mode, and we are back in the version that, unless I haven't changed it, so I assume it's still going to be in video mode, but it definitely gives us more speed. We can get up to 7 meters per second. So I'm almost just saying that, and I hear that drone above me, boy, it's moving right along. I'm watching it move along, and we're crossing the street here. And one thing I know is on our way back, we'll be able to, we'll have the wind at our back, so we'll be in good shape. And let's see, 37% battery, so I'm not going to go out here too far. Let's just kind of maybe get out to the corner of the field here, and then turn around and bring it back. There's that big mega Walmart right there, directly into the sun. So good test of the camera, and you know, take a look at what you see on this camera for any jello, etc. Let's turn it around here. See if I can get a nice even yaw as I turn it around. Brought the drone to a stop. And it's interesting to look at the attitude meter on the bottom left there, because you can really see what the drone is doing with regard to the wind. So yeah, we'll get it around here and we'll bring it home. And the cool thing about bringing it back is we know we'll have the wind with us, so we shouldn't have any problem. And it's almost going to go into its own return to home mode here pretty quick. So I'm kicking it forward now as I continue to yaw, and I'm sure the drone is burning up a lot of battery, and it's not going that fast. So yeah, we're kind of sideways to the wind now, so it's definitely, you know, even the wind from the side is clearly affecting it. Yeah, so we're in ludicrous mode, and just under 6 meters per second is our fastest speed. So let's get it across the street here. And if we can, we'll go out over the field, and then it'll be time to land. So cross the street real quick. There, we're picking up a little speed. And it's telling me it wants to return to home. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and just let that expire and let it do that. It's almost over the top of us right now. So I'm letting go of the stick. And we'll let the drone just do its thing here. Let me drop the camera down so you guys can see where we're at. The sun has come out from behind the clouds, so that feels pretty good. So you can see, you know, precision landing. It's going to land right next to us here. So I'm going to kind of move the GoPro around to see if we can catch the landing. It's going to be right in this parking spot right next to us. So there, can we see it on the GoPro yet? Yeah, now we can. So I'm lowering the GoPro down so that you can see the landing. And it's moving around as it gets down low. The wind's blowing it around. And there it stops recording. Hey, okay, let me get everything shut down and we'll do a conclusion. Hey, okay, the Autel Evo Nano Plus just had a firmware update and an app update, and we tested it out here. So, you know, this was like I said, it was a good day to do it with the amount of wind we had, and, you know, who knows what the wind speed really was up there. I just showed you what was on UAV forecast. I can tell you there's significant wind, and we saw how it affected the drone. It affected it in all the different modes. We didn't try it in smooth mode, but we tried it in standard and ludicrous, and we tried it in both the versions of ludicrous, video mode and speed mode. And it did, when the wind was at its back, it hit that top speed in all of those modes. And I would assume if there was no wind, it would do the same thing. However, the wind that was up there definitely slowed it down when it was going against the wind. I think the fastest we went against the wind was maybe 7.5 meters per second, something like that. And then also when we were coming back from across the street, we were kind of going at an angle to the wind, and it still slowed it down. So, you know, those little motors are working pretty hard to deal with that wind up there and keep everything stable. I'm going to say the gimbal looked pretty good. When I first took off, there was a little bit of tilt. I mean, a very, very, very slight tilt. But that seemed to go away almost immediately. And I didn't see any gimbal tilt after that. You know, I'll look back through when I do the editing to see if I see any, but I didn't, you know, as I was just watching FPV, I don't think I saw it. Now, Jello-wise, this guy was good to begin with, but we also want to look at that video to see, in the wind, did that create any issues with the gimbal with regard to Jello? And the other thing I'll say is that even in speed mode, it did not seem to affect the gimbal. So I'm telling you, Autel, you might be able to make it pitch even just a little bit more and get a little bit more wind resistance out of it and still be okay with this gimbal. Not an engineer, so I don't know that for sure, but it looked okay to me what I was looking at on FPV. So yeah, I guess that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I enjoyed doing the testing with this little guy. So this is Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel out. And if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. Most of all, I absolutely appreciate you taking the time to look at this video. And of course, I'll see you on the next one. The Autel Evo Nano Plus new firmware. See you guys later.